Hello. Okay, we've got a lot to talk about after that one. And I will admit, I was not expecting them to win. So there was a lot of negativity in my mind. I'm not gonna say it wasn't. So we're gonna start this a different way. We're gonna start this all positive. No negativity. I'm literally going to tell you when to shut it off for those of you who don't like negativity, or I would call it constructive criticism as opposed to negativity, because I don't think it's negativity. I think it's more, these are the issues I see with this team and what I think can stand in between them and engraving the word Vegas on the Stanley Cup, which is the only thing I really care about. But we're going to start with positives. We're going to start with, holy shit, how did they actually pull 2 points out of that game? How do they, oh, you're right, I did screw up the banner. I put the new banner on there and then I didn't put it on there. Thanks. Who said that? Yeah, good call, Kelsey. You're right. What an error. That was basically Golden Knights in the second period. Just unprepared. That's all there was. But no, stop it. We're starting with positives. No negatives until I say we can go with constructive criticism, and then we will go there. So we will start with positives. Positive number one. No longer do I care at all about the standings. The Golden Knights are in the playoffs, period. It's over. Forget about it. I didn't have a lot of concern personally. Not a big deal, but winning all these games, now putting up 3 in a row to start this December trip, or this pretty difficult stretch. You look at the next 6 games, they're not exactly the easiest 6 games. You look at the previous ones, Boston on the road, New York on the road, New Jersey in between, back-to-back going on. There was reason to think, okay, it's possible that we see some sort of a slip-up, or at least it not dominating going through these. No, that's over. Forget about it. The Golden Knights are in the playoffs. The Pacific Division has fallen back onto its ass, just like everyone expected when the season started. It's complete garbage. Even the Ducks, who are playing much better, they're not that good. There is no team that should stand in the way of the Golden Knights between now and getting to the postseason. Absolutely not. That is positive number one. So I will preface everything I am to say in saying none of this has anything to do whether they can win Sunday or they can win next week or the following week or any time before the deadline or any time in the regular season. None of that. It's over for me. We're deep enough into the season. What are we, 30 games into the season? They have 19 wins. They were banged up the entirety of the majority of that first month. It's like, I don't know why I said entirety of the majority, but whatever, you understand what I'm saying. I don't have any problem with saying they're going to the playoffs, and where they land doesn't really make a difference to me. I guess I would prefer it's not in a wild card spot, but I also think there's an argument to be made that I don't think I necessarily want to see them at the top of the division, because I'm not entirely sure that I want to see a Central Division team in round one. But that's way down the road. We're not getting there. Let's just talk about the positives of this game in and of itself. It started out with the first period, and the first period was a lot of what we've seen with Golden Knights hockey over the course of the last 80 games in regulation or regular season. You can maybe even go a little bit further back. You could probably throw in some of the Minnesota games, some of the games against Colorado in the playoffs. It's the style of game that when they're playing it, they're very, very difficult to generate anything against. And while there were a couple of nice saves in that period by Brossoit, it was basically those and that's it. And the reason for that is the neutral zone was really doing its job, picking off passes, taking away the stretch passes, not allowing easy entries, forcing them to dump in. And then once they dump in, they had enough support to come back, get the puck out, easily get it up, have no problem. That's what you want to see. That's the type of game that when the Golden Knights play that way, they're very, very, very difficult to beat. That's what they got in the first period. Included in that was the forechecking was consistent. The forechecking was in many ways coming in layers. That's the type of play that you want to be able to see. That's what you're looking for. That's the moment that, you watch that and you say, okay, not only are they living in the offensive zone, but they're also getting the puck into dangerous areas. Even when they turn it over, they're forcing it back. They're forcing turnovers on when the opposing team gets the puck. And in many ways, they're finding ways to generate shot after shot after shot, and they're coming from all over the ice. That's when the forecheck is playing at its best. That's when they're very, very dangerous. Neutral zone's good, and then the best part, I thought, of the first period is they were spectacular getting out of their own zone. The first, 3 or 4 minutes, there was some wacky, I don't know what was going on, that it was like, we just don't give a fuck what we do with the puck now. Just throw it all the way down the ice and hope something good happens. That led to a couple of chances for New York. Could have jacked up the entire period. Luckily, Brossoit is there to take a few of those away. But as the period went on, their exits got way cleaner, much easier. When they're going up the boards, they have the player there where the puck lands. When they flip it up into the middle, they have two guys to deal with the one guy backing into his zone, and they often win those loose pucks in the neutral zone. They make it very hard for you not only to get out of or to get back into their zone, but also to change. It's really hard to get consistent changes, line changes, when you don't have control of the puck and when the opposing team's not dumping it into your zone and changing themselves. That's what the Golden Knights were able to do in that first period. It came from the neutral zone, it came from the forecheck, it came from their exits. All of it is exactly what you want to see. And then beyond that, all four lines, I thought, in that first period were playing the same style of game. That's something I haven't liked in the past, and something that has frustrated me over the course of probably it's been all 4 seasons, is that the Golden Knights' fourth line often comes in and tries to play a completely different style. And it's a style that is not really even trying to score. If the puck happens to go in, cool. That's not the way that this fourth line has been playing. Carrier directly towards the goal. Howden getting himself in front of the dangerous areas. Kolesar has actually been pretty darn good offensively at every single thing except finishing. Now that becomes a problem down the road. But again, when you're playing with guys that are in front of the net, that are finding that way to make something happen, you're able to get a goal like they got. And in the biggest part of that, to me, is it's a replicable goal. I talk about this a lot. I want goals, and I want them to score consistently in ways that are something that I can say, that's going to happen again. That's going to happen again in the second. That's going to happen again in the postseason. That's going to happen no matter who you play, what style of team you're playing. That's what that goal was from Howden, because of the style that they went straight at the goal and made things dangerous. You know, that not always are the Golden Knights going to win those pucks out in front. They're not great at it. Howden's decent at it. Carrier is decent at it. You know, Howden has shown it. Like, Adam Brooks is actually pretty good at it, that he hasn't gotten his chance really recently. So that's the type of thing I like to see. And then when you roll that play over, and now the line of Stevenson, Pacioretty, and Stone comes out, they're playing a similar way, where it's very direct, but it's also utilizing the open space, holding onto the puck, making life difficult, getting the defenseman involved. There's a ton of movement from the blue line down. You're getting the replacement. There was one particular play that I remember where Theodore jumps into the play. The puck is turned over a lot quicker than that the Golden Knights would have preferred. My initial thought is, Theodore's in a bad spot. Hopefully they have the cover. I immediately see the cover, but still, when there's a 3-on-2 and you have a forward as your cover, so it's 3-on-2, you have Vegas has one defenseman, one forward, I'm nervous. In that case, I saw it was Carlson. I'm like, they'll be fine. That's another piece. I'm not going into the pessimism, into the constructive criticism yet, but that's a piece I'm not sure what you're going to get out of Stevenson and what you're going to get out of Eichel when you put them in that higher end spot where they play against a group that has the ability to exit and change that play, where you have your forward activated defenseman or forwards, defenseman activated forward filling in behind him. If you get a 3-on-2 rush, it has to be a Carlson, a Smith, a Stone, these types of players. Otherwise, it's going to be trouble. We've seen that with Nick Waugh, with Keegan Kolesar. Alex Tux was always in that position for some reason and wasn't very good at it. Like, those are the issues I can see. But again, we're staying positive here at the beginning. Brossoit, spectacular today. Like, the goal that he gives up, I still don't fully understand what happened. I'm assuming it came off of a blade. directly out in front of him, finds its way through. There's absolutely nothing you can do on the penalty kill. It is what it is. They snap the puck around. Your penalty killing has to be better there. We'll talk about that in a minute. But that's the type of thing where, like, he was very good. Overtime, spectacular. As far as the overtime itself, and Kelsey, we're all over your comments today, but I don't care about overtime. Like, for me, overtime in the regular season is for point generation. So, like, when you're a team that is pushing the bottom end of the postseason, or you know, like a team that is trying to get yourself in, or you're trying to go from being on the wild card to potentially clearly in the division standings, and the playoffs are up for grabs, that's when those games matter. The overtime games are not going to matter to the Golden Knights. I'm fairly confident in saying that if they lose every single overtime game from here to the end of the season, and I don't think that's going to happen, but if they were to, I still think they make the playoffs very easily and don't miss those points at all. Maybe you're saying, oh, they missed them from a seeding perspective, but I don't think the seeding makes all that much of a difference anyway, because I don't like having the number one seed overall, be it in the division and in the conference or even in the league. Like, I don't like either of them. I like there to be a mixture of these games are at home, then we're going on the road to start the next series, then we come home. Like, I don't mind 2 in a row that are the same, but you don't want to play 3 series in a row. You've seen it constantly. It catches up to teams. It did last year to the Golden Knights. Like, I just don't like that style. Or actually, no, it was the year before or whatever. I don't remember when it was. Either way, I don't like that style. What else do I have? Oh, I guess I will say the reason why the Golden Knights are so damn good in overtime today, they get good staves, but also their willingness to hang on to the puck, their willingness to take chances that are there as opposed to forcing chances has grown in a big way since they got DeBoer. I think that in the past, whatever it's been, 18 overtime games or whatever, you don't see those plays where they're forcing a pass or they're forcing a shot or they're doing the types of things that lead to easy turnovers and 2-on-1 breaks the other way. The Rangers earned their 2-on-1 breaks today, usually based on saving shots. Vegas would have dangerous shots. The puck's going to come out. It is what it is. It's only 3-on-3. You can't have 2 guys back or you're never going to score. So in that respect, I like how they're playing. Shootout, I really don't give a shit. I had somebody on Twitter yapping about not happy with the decisions. I have no problem with the guys who went. I think Wah should go just about every single time. He's fantastic in the shootout. We watch it in practice all the time. Didn't show up today. He does the little motorcycle kick. It didn't work out. You know, Marchessault's always very good at it. Theodore's always good at it. Dadonov scored last time and won the game. Like, I don't know what there would be any sort of issue. This Periscope and all Periscopes this season, including all the way through the playoffs, which I guaranteed earlier in this one that they're going to be in, are brought to you by Conler & Associates CPAs. We are coming up on 2022, which means your taxes are going to be due fairly soon. And nobody really likes to do taxes, but people who do are Conler & Associates CPAs. Fantastic Golden Knights fans, a fantastic family-owned business. The Conler family are great people. I promise you, you will enjoy your interactions with them. If you need any tax services, whether it's for you as the individual, for your business, small businesses, definitely take up Conler & Associates CPAs. Go to conlercpa.com. Tell them that SinBin sent you, and they'll hook you up with a free consultation. A number of people have already told me that they have done it. That means a lot to me. It means a lot to Conler. It means a lot to Jason, who's my partner in this website. It's how we keep this thing going. We love that you guys take care of our sponsors, and please continue to do that. Okay, 15 minutes I almost went in all positives, and now we will move to the other side. And I will preface this by saying I do not give a shit whether the Golden Knights win on Sunday or win against Tampa coming up or win against Colorado or any of them. I have no concern at all, zero, that this team is going to make the playoffs. None. They're a good team. They're pushed up against the cap. They're going to make the changes whenever they have to get Eichel going. He's going to help them in certain ways. I also am concerned in certain ways there, but they're not going to miss the playoffs. There is no concern about this season ending prior to the 82-game schedule. So When I look at certain things and when I am constructively criticizing certain things, the reason for that is because I want this team to be everything they should be and more come playoff time, something they have not been for 2 consecutive seasons in the postseason. They've gone out the same way. They've had troubles with teams that they should not have troubles with. The only real time where I'm really proud of a postseason win is Colorado, a series where they rolled out their plan. It didn't work for a game and a half, really 2 games. They go down 2-0. They do not change their plan at all. They continue rolling it out, and they win the next 4 games using the exact same plan, and the other team never adjusted to them, as opposed to inability to adjust against Vancouver, inability to adjust against Montreal, inability to adjust against Dallas, inability to adjust in many ways against Minnesota, a series they would have lost if Minnesota did not completely shit themselves in Game 7 at T-Mobile Arena. By the way, good job, fans and T-Mobile Arena, for being as dominant as you are, scaring the shit out of Minnesota and making them struggle. They literally could not skate. It would have been an embarrassment if the Golden Knights had lost that game. So today, I will preface again in saying this is the second night of a back-to-back. It is the 3rd and 4. It is not the easiest situation to play in. However, that does not excuse the things that I'm about to talk about. I do not think there was a lack of effort tonight. I do not think that they were short in skating. I don't think the legs weren't under them. I don't think any of that. Maybe a little bit in the 3rd, and we'll get on the 3rd in a little bit. I have a graph over here to explain why I hated the 3rd period, even though they came back and tied it and then almost blew it later after that. My issue with today is I think that what the Golden Knights do is very predictable. And certain teams, namely better teams, and we've seen it a few times so far this season, but I think we're going to see it more moving forward, especially the teams that have opportunities to see the Golden Knights more often. Those teams will be able to have the answers against some of the things the Golden Knights are doing and have done for a few years. I don't think when you come into games in the regular season, you prepare specifically for teams. I don't think they even did it last year, even though they were playing back-to-back games. And really, if you go to last year, there were games that they struggled against Colorado. There were games they struggled against Minnesota. When they did play teams multiple times, that was when the better teams were able to take advantage of some of the things the Golden Knights did. Minnesota dragged them to 7. They lost the first 2 to Colorado, found a way to get past them. I thought that was really impressive. Montreal wipes them out. Same thing against Vancouver. They started to figure out what the Golden Knights were doing, dragged that series to 7. Same thing against Dallas. Like, I go back to all of these games because these are the types of things that lead me to believe that even though it looks really, really good now, they're ripping off wins in December. I think of the next 6 games, even though all of them are teams they could potentially lose to, I think they will win 5 of them. I think they will end the month of December with like 1 or 2 losses. No, not a playoff beard. I'm shaving tomorrow. I just didn't feel like shaving this morning because I was running a little behind and I wanted to go to lunch instead. So that's what that is. This team is predictable. How they forecheck, how they set up in the neutral zone, how they exit the zone, how they play against in the penalty kill, how their power play operates, all of it. It's very, very predictable. And I don't see that changing. And that's where I have the concern. I'll talk about it specifically in this second period. In the first period, the Golden Knights neutral zone defense, which now is effectively a 1-1-3, meaning one forechecker up to chasing the puck, another one to force the puck to the side the Golden Knights want it to go. That depends on where it is and where they're set up. Don't worry that much about that. And then 3 across the blue line, meaning the third forward, F3, is standing on the blue line. He has the option to jump forward. In the first period, New York is trying stretch passes. New York is trying to skate through this defense. New York is trying to play the style that they want to play. Spread it out, get it in, make it happen quickly through the neutral zone. When they were doing that, the Golden Knights are eating them alive. In the second period, it completely stopped. They figured out, either short passes or skate through the middle guy, and you'll have opportunities to either walk in yourself because the blue line will back off or dump it in behind. And mostly you stopped seeing hard dump-ins and you started seeing soft dump-ins or cross-corner dump-ins, which is what Minnesota killed the Golden Knights with in that postseason series. When teams figure out how to deal with the Golden Knights neutral zone, the Golden Knights do not change it. They just continue going down that road. And why did the Golden Knights look so slow in that second period? It's not because the skating legs weren't there. That may have a little bit of why it looked that bad, but the reason it wasn't great is because when teams are breaking down their neutral zone, the Golden Knights have more time in their defensive zone, and even when the zone in-zone coverage is good, great players like a Zibanejad, a Kreider, a Fox, who was phenomenal tonight. Like, I didn't get to watch him hardly at all last season, and I was like, where the hell did Adam Fox come from to win a Norris? Now I'm like, fuck, give him every Norris for the rest of time. I don't care. That kid's amazing. Got tripped by Carrier. Should have been a penalty. Could have changed the game. Luckily, they didn't call it. Carrier does the right thing and blows the breakaway before even shooting. You're welcome. Okay. But the second part was the way that they were playing coming out of the zone. So now all of a sudden, when New York is in the Golden Knights zone and they're starting to get more and more time because they're not turning the puck over in the neutral zone, when the puck is in the Golden Knights defensive zone, their breakouts are so unbelievably predictable that when a team understands, oh, wait a minute, I shouldn't take this side of him, I should put myself up against the wall, and they will jam it into my legs or jam it into my chest, and we will make the play going forward. Again, it takes good players to do this. When you play against a shitty team like New Jersey, or you play against most of the shit at the bottom end of the Pacific Division, they don't have the ability to do it. And even if they're in the right position, the Golden Knights have more skill than them. They're able to get around it. They win more stick battles. They do things that allow them to overcome some of these problems. Today, that was not the case. This team has enough depth through their lines. Their fourth line is a joke. There's a main reason why. A huge problem with Gallant is he is over-reliant on terrible players at some point. One of them was in there. It was very clear. I won't go off on that tangent too far. But they had enough skill with their first three lines that they were hemming the Golden Knights in and forcing all of these turnovers. And you heard on the broadcast, if you watched at home, there were constant discussions about how often the Golden Knights were turning it over. And the reason is not bad decision-making. The reason is because the Golden Knights find more ways to just play the system. This is where it's supposed to go. That's where I'm going to put it. And when teams defend it, they still put it that way. And that leads to no rush chances, constant turnovers in the defensive zone, penalties that they have to take. They took a couple in this particular game. One led to the goal. One was not called. The other one was delayed, and they scored the goal on it. Like, all of these things add up. And when you play a team like New York, Vegas got that game to overtime. They find a way to get that game to overtime. But if that game continues, they're going to lose that game at 5-on-5 in overtime. Like, I promise you, they will not win that game. Now, back-to-back, 3 and 4. Okay. The third period, the last issue I have with the Golden Knights, and this is the one I'm least concerned about at this moment because I think Jack Eichel is partially an answer to this, but it may lead to breakdowns in other areas because of what they're going to have to do to the team to get Jack Eichel on this team. But the third period, let me share the screen real quick and show you what this looks like. Screen this one. All right, this is the third period. That is the shot chart for the Golden Knights in the third period. Can I show my cursor? There's one here, one here, one here, and maybe that one. I'd actually have to go back and find that shot itself. But most of what they're doing is way the hell out here, I don't know what this shot is, and these three over here. This is not how you come back when you have all sorts of zone time offensively. You have to get in here. You draw a house right here like that, And that's where you have to be. The Golden Knights were not attempting to get to the front of the net. They did not have traffic in front. They were allowing the opposing team to simply sit in their defensive shell, play along the boards as much as you want. We're not all that concerned about it. And you will never score. And they should not have scored, except for the fact that they win a draw, get it back to the point. There's enough in front. And really, I just didn't think New York challenged hard enough either out to the point to challenge the shot or moving Janmark in front. You'll take that goal. But to me, unreplicable goal. Yes, it goes straight in. Yes, there is a screen. I get all of that. But what I'm saying is, if you play a playoff series and that's how you rely on coming back from 2-1 in a third period, you will lose 95% of the games, if not all of them, in your postseason. That's the concern I have. And when I pulled up the shot chart and when I watched the game myself, I thought they do not have any desire to take the puck to dangerous areas. I wrote about this a little bit back where I talked about drawing penalties. And I luckily it was a time where there weren't many media members. I got to ask like 4 questions in a row to DeBoer about why are they not drawing penalties? What are the things you're doing? And I was expecting more talk about the referees. Well, they're not calling them. That's not where he went, because he's right in that the personnel the Golden Knights have, again, Jack Eichel might fix this problem because he will probably draw up more penalties. But the personnel they have, this includes Stone, this includes Pacioretty, Smith, Marchessault, Carlson, Stevenson, Janmark, Dadonov, like all of them. Outside of maybe Carrier, who is one that I would put in the category of very willing to take that extra step to draw that penalty, the Golden Knights are not trying to attack areas that force you into stick fouls. You very rarely see anybody get hooked as they go towards the goal. How often do you see a guy get slashed unless they have a 2-on-1? Like, it just doesn't happen. When the Golden Knights have extended zone time, they don't draw penalties. And the reason is they're not willing to go to the dangerous areas. They're willing to do it to stand there and try to tip a shot from the point, but they're not even good at that. Yes, it went in today. I'm well aware of that. Take your Dylan Coghlan goal, take your 2 points, move on, understand that that's probably not a way that you're going to win in the postseason. That's fine. It's December 17th. It doesn't make a huge difference. But the system that is set up, and the concern I have is that Gerard Gallant is very knowledgeable about how the Golden Knights play, what the Golden Knights do well, and what Pete DeBoer's system is. His team did not seem ready for it for the first period. That's probably on him. However, the second period, they exploited everything the Golden Knights do, every inch of Pete DeBoer's system, and they dominated the Golden Knights. Should have scored even more. The one that Strome bangs off the post probably ends the game against the Golden Knights. They lose this game in regulation. But it didn't happen. The third period, that's where I think New York got a little bit comfortable in their defensive shell. Maybe the DeBoer system helps in allowing a team to just give up. I don't know. But again, it's December 17th. So New York isn't sitting here saying we must win this game or our season is over. If you're playing that team in game 6 of a Stanley Cup final, they ain't sitting back on 2-1. You're not going to get that goal because they're going to score another one on you because they're going to play like the second period because their season relies on it. That's the issues I have. And as you look through this game, again, don't care that they won the game. Wouldn't have cared that much if they lost the game. The 2 points don't mean that much to me. I have no concern of them making the playoffs. I don't really give a shit about it being 3-4 or the back-to-back, any of it. It's the way the system is set up leads to easy changes for the opposing team to figure it out. I think as series go on, they figure it out more and more, and I don't think the Golden Knights are willing, I don't know about able, but willing to put in wrinkles to it. You just don't see it, and that's why I am majorly concerned, because this season, While I understand they are climbing the pole here, totem pole, or whatever you want to call it, they are headed towards first place. I'm now back on the train of they'll probably win the division. Maybe not, because they're probably going to have some tougher times where, Edmonton's going through their tough time. Calgary's got the COVID stoppage. Anaheim will probably slow down at some point. Vegas will have a little bit of a run-in with a tough trip or whatever. It's going to happen. It's not going to go perfectly the entire season. Don't worry about that. What I'm saying is, once we get to the games that matter, then you're going to start seeing these things crop up. The goaltending as a whole has not been A+ this season, so you cannot rely on that, which is a huge reason why the Golden Knights got all the way to the Stanley Cup final in year one. They got there because Fleury basically stole that Winnipeg series. They were opportunistic and Fleury bailed them out. I don't know that you're going to get that this season because we haven't seen it consistently. You see it momentarily. You see it in, the first period of this game. I thought Brossoit was excellent, but over the course of the season, it hasn't really been there. And I don't know that we can believe, especially when you consider they're probably going to play Leonard 65 games this season, or whatever it happens to be, and then expect to roll them out for 20 straight in the postseason. It's probably not going to go as well as what it has in the past. B is they are not good enough defensively this year. Now, Martinez has been out. They have dealt with other players being out. Whitecloud was out for a good portion. You're missing Carlson. You're missing Stone. You're missing Pacioretty. Okay, but they're still allowing 2 or 3 goals every single night. Every night, it's what's happening. Boston, it didn't, but that's because Boston wasn't there. That team just didn't show up. Fine. The Golden Knights will have their games where they don't show up in the future. Not that Boston is anywhere near on the level of the Golden Knights this season. Last night, that team showed up. They weren't that good. Golden Knights did not play well. They gave up 3 late. They were back in that game. I didn't think they were ever going to lose the game because I think New Jersey sucks, but that's what you're seeing today. Multiple breakdowns, the penalty kill. Just all of a sudden, it's like, well, I guess we're just going to allow the one pass that our entire penalty kill is predicated on. They allow it multiple times. Boom, 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 tic-tac-toe, back of the net. Brossoit has no chance. These are the things that I just don't know why defensively they aren't as good as they have been. It's not going to catch up to them in the regular season. They're too good for that. We're at a different level. I think it's important to continue mentioning. We're not talking about how good is this team compared to Seattle and Arizona and even a team like New York. I'm not that concerned about that at the moment. What I'm concerned about is, are they going to be the best team in the NHL going into the postseason so that no matter which 4 teams line up in front of them, progressively harder teams as we go, they'll have an answer for all of them. I don't think they will at the moment. And I don't know that Eichel's actually going to make them better. I will stand on that and continue saying that. I'm not sure he'll make them better because the problem of how they're defending is only going to get worse. Not saying he's a bad defensive player. I'm saying he's new to the system and hasn't played hockey in 16 months or 14 or whatever it will be at that time. That's my concern. Again, I still want to consistently say this is one of the 5 best teams in the NHL. The Golden Knights are an elite NHL team. They are very, very good, but they have been that last season, the season before, the season before, and the season before. And in all 4 of them, there's been some reason why things have gotten in the way. The first 2 seasons, there was more understanding of why that reason was happening. The last 2 seasons are concerning about what's coming up. The changes that have been made have, in my opinion, made them worse in the postseason. And I don't know that that's going to get better when you still see the underlying problems that they saw tonight and that we've seen through 30 games through this season, and then understanding that a massive overhaul of the roster is coming sometime in the middle of March. There's a lot to be concerned about. Celebrate the wins. Be pumped they're winning games. Be pumped we don't have to worry about the postseason, and understand that correcting some of these issues means winning the Stanley Cup. It doesn't mean just making the playoffs. It doesn't mean being one of the better teams in the NHL. No, it means parade on fucking Las Vegas Boulevard. That's what we want to happen. And those are the things that they have to correct between now and the second or third round of the postseason. This isn't a rush. This isn't something that they have to do quickly. But there are problems with this team. Don't just sit there and think they're perfect. They can win even when they play like shit. Yes, that can happen, and that will happen. But it will not happen 4 out of 7 when it truly matters. And as much as there are so many good things to point at, and I did 15 minutes on that, I'm still concerned, and I want to see better moving forward, and I want to see corrections to some of these issues. I want to see when you play a Tampa at home and they adjust to your neutral zone trap. How do you come back out of that? What is your answer behind that? To me, so far, the answer is keep trying it, and we'll figure it out. Shout out to little Jason for the Christmas card. Fantastic Christmas card. Absolutely amazing Christmas card. I can't get it in the middle. There we go. Spectacular. Merry Christmas. Love, Jason and Violet. Amazing. That's going up here till the end of Christmas. Love it. Everybody knows I'm not a big Christmas guy, but goddamn, spectacular. Yes, this is a sugar skull with the SinBin logo on the back. I don't know if I've ever told the story of this thing before. So it had to have been the summer of 2017, before they ever played a game. I was in Cancun. I think it was Cancun. It might have been the one south of Cancun, like Riviera Maya or something. I don't know. I was on one of these things, and they had this little shop in the hotel with all these sugar skulls, and there were, Cowboys and Rangers and whatever, and now I'm just naming Dallas teams, whatever, all your different teams, Packers and Chiefs and whatever, all these different teams. They had plenty of NHL teams, Rangers, whatever. All of those are there. I'm like, you know what? I wonder if they can make me a Golden Knights one. I go up to the guy, I say, hey, where's the new team? Has no idea what he's talking about, barely speaks English at all. So I pull up the logo, I show it to him. He goes, NHL team. And I told, yeah. No, I think it was Riviera Maya, not Tulum. And so, yeah, I told him he says it's a real team. I said, yeah. So he made it. And then I remember, like, wait a minute. No, I need him to put the SinBin logo on the back. So I went over to him. I threw him another $100 and they threw that on there. Guy was amazing. Awesome. That thing's been on the shelves ever since. Spectacular. If you ever go to those, have one of these custom sugar skulls made. They're phenomenal. Like, where else are you going to get that? It's one of a kind stuff. I love the one of a kind stuff on the shelf. I don't have that much of it. Like this little SinBin pin, the one of a kind stuff. Look at that. It's fantastic. I like my my random stuff. Okay. What do we have coming up? So there's a game on Sunday. I don't expect them to have much of a problem in that game. I just think this New York Islander team is a mess right now. I guess they're getting a little bit better. I do think they'll present some questions to the Golden Knights that I'm interested to see how they handle them. Wouldn't shock me if it's a game that I'm walking out of it saying, wow, they played like shit and won again. Like, I don't really want that to happen, but that might be the way it goes. I'd like them to have some of the answers for what this New York Islander team is going to present them with. That being said, this team doesn't exactly play inside of the style that they should be playing, and we're not going to do any sort of Periscope on a Sunday. I like football too much, and the Bucks play at like 5 or something, so I'd be all ready for that. No Periscope. Obviously, I'll be watching the game live, and I'm all over that. Bucks game's not on, so I'm in good shape there. But no Periscope after that one. We canceled the podcast this week because there was just too many games, and the timing didn't make sense, and the only place to do it was going to be Wednesday, so we allowed just having goalie interference. Goalie interference is back again next week. By the way, check out my Twitter. There's a phenomenal tweet from the Dallas Stars of Mike McKenna getting a puck flipped over the glass to him. Amazing. We'll have to talk to him about that next week. Podcast will come back probably early next week. We'll do it after the road trip and see how everything lands and before some of these important home games. Thanks again to Conler & Associates CPAs for sponsoring this Periscope and all of them this season. Again, trust me, your taxes are due before you know it. Take care of that. Get somebody on your side that's really good at it, and you don't have to worry about doing it yourself. It sucks. Taxes are not fun to do. They're very good at it. Tell them that SinBin sent you, and they'll hook you up with a free consultation. They are fantastic sponsors for 2 years running of this Periscope. I cannot thank them enough for doing that. That's it. Hopefully the positivity outweighed the negativity, and hopefully the negativity actually made sense and didn't sound like I'm just trying to sit here and shit on the Golden Knights, because I'm not. I think they're really fucking good. That's what I'm going to end with. I think they're really fucking good.